but I talk to myself a lot. Like, say it like that, like, you can't do it. Like, you can tell yourself you can do it,
right.
you know? And I talk to myself, like, if I believed half the shit I fucking thought or I told myself, you know,
right.
I'd probably be fucked up, you know, like in all aspects of life.
But people hear what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Like I told you earlier, anymore, I don't want to get into politics by any means, but people no longer want to hear your opinion come out of your mouth. They want to hear their opinion come out of your mouth.
So I was always that just like surface kind of level, just, oh yeah, let's go do this shit. But then I'd get home and I'd be like, I'm too tired.
Yeah.
And it wasn't probably until...
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast. Today we got a very special guest. It's going to be a great one. I'm your host, Monico Carrillo. But of course, we got here with us Erick.
What's up? Yeah, I'm your other co-host here on the Totem Podcast. But before we get started, guys, just remember that we are on YouTube and Spotify and all the other podcast streaming platforms. Mainly on YouTube, though. So, guys, if you guys like the conversations we're having, if you guys like today's guest, especially, you know, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to go click subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every single time we got a new episode up. But yeah, guys, if you guys like it, like who we're having on here, just share the shit out of the show. That's all we ask for here. But yeah, if we bring you any sorts of value too, like just blast it everywhere, pretty much. But yeah, our motto here on the podcast is that an act of rebellion is to question.
Yeah, no, today's gonna be a great one, Erick. I mean, I'm a big fan of his stuff that he does, so it's gonna be great. So, Larry Moose Lundstrom.
You heard him. Subscribe, you bastards. Subscribe and like and share, you sons of bitches. No, that's how this is going to go down, right?
What I'm most interested is, like, how did he get, how did that go?
So that's been a childhood nickname. The day I was born, my uncle, because I guess I've always been this size. I've always been a big dude. So it was Moosey growing up.
Okay.
You know, so it just turned into Moose.
They just took the Y off once you grew up.
The IE, but yeah, it was, I hated it. But it's funny because, like, my mom's friends or people I've known since I was a little boy still call me Moosey.
Really?
A guy who grew up with Norman Schneider's mom, Linda. What's up, Linda? What's up, Norm?
What's up, fellas?
She had to ask my mom, what is Moosey's real name? They didn't know my name was Larry. She had no clue, and I grew up with these people.
What?
Yeah, man.
That's
so
crazy.
That's what I was known as. And so when I started doing comedy in 2006, I hate the name Larry. I always hated the name. I'm a junior. And I always hated that fucking name, dude. It's just such a lame ass name, Larry. There's nobody cool named Larry, you know? In 80s movies, the name Larry was always the fat kid or the gay kid or there was never Larry Bird's it. That's all we had in the 80s, you know? But I hated it. So I started going by Moose when I started doing comedy. You know, and Moose Lundstrom just seemed to roll off better than Larry Lundstrom. I just hate how
That was funny because earlier we were talking about like moose. Like, is he a hunter? Does he kill a lot of moose? Or
That's exactly.
No, man. I refuse to shit out in the woods. I do not hunt, man. You know, so that's not my gig, bro. So, but no, it's my Uncle Ed. What's up, Unc? I do that in my podcast. It's a nasty habit.
No, you got to give him got to give him props. You got to call him out.
You gotta let him know what's up.
Yeah.
You know,
and then later on, you ask him, "Hey, did you watch the podcast? Did you hear the shot I gave you?"
Right.
And then you get to see if they actually watch your shit or not.
And I'll tell them, I'll say, I know you did. You want to know why? Because you didn't bring up that thing I said about you. About the thing I know about the thing. Oh, shit. You know? You got to make people nervous, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But that's how I came across Moose, so.
But, before we move forward or anything, give me a breakdown. We always like to start of how your childhood was. How was your upbringings?
You know what? Comedians notoriously have horrible childhoods, and the more I hear about comedian stories, they're horrible. For me, I had an amazing childhood. You know what I mean? I had a family who loved me. I was always taken care of. I was always loved. You know, so I'm not. It's weird. I didn't meet my dad till I was 24 years old. You know, but other than that, I had my mom, my Uncle Ed, his family, my grandparents. So I just never knew. I've always had a cream puff life, I guess. You know what I mean? I had struggles like every kid has struggles. You know, but growing up, I had a good childhood. You know what I mean? So very supportive parents, very supportive of everybody. So if I'd have told my family I want to be a janitor when I grew up, they'd have bought me the mop. You know what I mean? And been like, you know what, you mopping some bitch, do it. You know? So the childhood was good. You know what I mean? It just, yeah, I can't complain, man. You know.
So it was like in high school, were you like the funny guy in high school?
I tried to be. I was actually one of many funny guys. In my particular class, we had some funny people. I didn't get the funniest guy though. It's best sense of humor went to Sean Kelly, and I love you, Sean. What's up, Sean? He's a good dude. But I was actually like a senior class president, and I think that was a joke at one point in time.
So you're one of those. You're the good kids then. If you're the senior president, and all that stuff.
I think I was. Let's see how this shit goes if we nominate this dude president. You know what I mean? Because I remember they voted, and the other two people I was sitting there with, running against, I guess, because it was a little meeting. Really wanted it, and I was like, I couldn't give a shit less. You know what I mean? Because I'm like a C student at my best. And they ended up voting me in. Missy Weiser, what's up, Missy? Is actually the one who nominated me, and I looked at her like, "Are you serious? I don't even know what to do with that." But worked out. So
how sad were the other people that really wanted?
I don't know if they were sad. They went on to amazing careers and make probably 4 times what I do in a year. But good for them. I got that one day in 1994. Sons of bitches. So
that's great.
So did you always know you kind of wanted to be like in comedy, or is it kind of just something that grew over time?
So when I was, in 96, I graduated in 94. In 96, I moved to Pueblo. That's where I'm from. At 5 years old, my family moved here. So moved to Pueblo because I'm not gonna end up in Morgan County. I said I'm not gonna be that guy, right?
So Pueblo's much better. So
you ever been to Pueblo, bro?
Yeah.
That was an education, let me tell you. But that's where my family's from. I got a lot of family in Pueblo still to this day. And I get this job at a nightclub bartending, right? So Saturday nights are comedy nights, right? Stand-up comedy night. Now, growing up, my mom didn't me do better in school. She would always let me watch Evening at the Improv. You guys are pretty young. You probably don't remember that. But it was Evening at the Improv with comedians. And we'd sit there and it was family comedy. And we'd laugh. And I remember her laughing. And I remember her thinking, man, that's awesome. How these guys could just bring it out of her, And she would laugh hysterically. And I would laugh. And I didn't understand the damn joke. I had no clue what the hell they were talking about. Yeah. So I started Pepper's Nightclub, bartending. And the bar in the club I'm working at is the one that works the comedy shows. That's the first time I've ever been in a room with stand-up comedy live. And that is an amazing feeling, when you feel that energy in the room, the energy of the people in the room. And I thought to myself, Mike Ferris was the owner of this club. What's up, Mike? I love you, buddy. He was the owner of this club, and he used to stack them in there. Now, this club lasted 20 years, which is amazing for a nightclub. That's tough to do. Yeah. Because he was a genius. He was a smart man. He used to pack people in there, and I asked him, why do they pack so tight in there, man? Because you have all this room in this club, and you pack them in there yourself because laughter is contagious. And he was right. Laughter is contagious. And in a show I run ever, you'll notice I pack you in there, because laughter is contagious. So I'm in the room with these comedians, and they're coming through, and I get to deal with them, a little bit, and I just think this is the coolest thing ever. So one day drunk, I tell Mike, hey, man, he takes us out somewhere, I don't know. And I said, hey, man, you should let me introduce the comics. You should let me get on stage and introduce the comics instead of the DJ, And he says, I don't know, man, I need you behind the bar. And I said, come on, don't be an asshole. Come on, Mike. All right, he says. So I get up there. I forget the dude's name. I fucked this up so horribly, man. It's
your first shot and you already fucked it up.
Man, it is going down in flames, brother. And I get down humbled, And he's like, let's just bartend for a while, So it comes, that's pretty much the end of that, at that club. I still enjoy the comedy. I still love what they do. I get a job at Budweiser, and I move back to Morgan County. It's a good job. It's got health benefits. The club, it's fun, but I'm 27 at this point. I got to start getting a 401k. I got to start making plans for the future, right? 2 years later, about 06, then I moved back. I started getting that itch just to go check it out. You've seen comedy on TV or whatever.
And you had never been on stage, like after you've never messed with it before.
That's it. Just that time I went up and Jeff Sargent was a comic. I remember his name now. 25 years later, Jeff, I remember now. I couldn't remember 5 minutes as they went on the stage, right? Jeff Sargent is super funny, by the way. So I look up on the internet at that point in time. I think on a flip phone, you know what I mean? And the Comedy Works is open mic night. Now it's gotten bigger since now because there's so many more of them. But now, back then, it was 6 weeks. You had to sign up for 6 weeks to get a 2-minute slot.
Like 6 weeks in advance?
Yeah, you call in every day, every Tuesday.
Damn.
You call in, they put you on a list, and then they have C is 2 minutes, B is 3 minutes, A is 4 minutes, and then there's the regular working comics. So here comes my shot. My name is on the recording. I'm super excited. I've got 2 minutes. I've written these 2 minutes, and they're genius in my mind, right? So I tell some friends, I tell a few select friends, good friends, because this is going to be a humbling experience, I think. I remember the Jeff Sargent whole episode, right? So I take my mom and my uncle and a couple of close friends, and I get up there and I do my 2 minutes, and I just murder it. It's unbelievable. Like my ego goes.
Like the crowd, everyone's just...
Everybody into it. Here's what I don't realize is that when you're brand new, when they say, this is this guy's first time on stage, the Comedy Works, let me take a step back. The Comedy Works in Denver is a top 5 club in the nation. Probably top 10 in the world. You know what I mean? It's well known. I mean, Chappelle shows up for the open mic night. Just
yeah, I've heard about. I mean, I've never caught him there, but I've heard about that. He just shows up random.
Yeah, well, I'll get into that later. But so I don't realize that when they say this is this guy's first time on stage, the crowd is automatically going to love you. They're going to give you every benefit of the doubt. They're going to support you. I think I'm just killing it. I walk off stage and go, fuck, I should be famous in like 5 weeks, 6 weeks? I don't know. I got to do some writing, right? So my friends all, of course, like I told you, I have a very supportive family, a very supportive base in my life, you know, which is one of my biggest blessings. So I sign up against, Deacon Gray, who was the head of Open Mic Night, he's the comedian that kind of, you know, runs it, comes to me and goes, we're going to give you 3 minutes. We're going to bump you up to the 3 minute guy. And I go, oh, shit. You know, I went to this once, you know.
Upgraded.
First time you're already upgrading.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking, shit, you know, I should have done this earlier. So I call on. It's like 6 or 7 weeks. I got 3 minutes. I've written 3 brand new minutes of material. I get up on stage. I bring even more friends this time. I get up on stage and I eat shit. I mean, it is the most humbling experience of my entire life. I don't know if one laugh came out of that crowd. Maybe a giggle here and like a little laugh.
Your friends didn't even get it?
My friends laughed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think that it was all charity laughing, though. There was not genuine laughing. So it took my ego, and you want to have your ego just shattered. That's a good way to do it, man. It was tough. I remember just getting hammered on the way home and just feeling sorry for myself, you know. But I said, you know, I got a good friend, Tim Dussault, was like, you know what, man, you can't just give up, right? It's one bad night. And so I started signing up again, you know, and it got better, and it just takes so long to get up there, right? So I go, and I have a buddy in Greeley who had a friend who owned a bar, Dave Aloise. What's up, Dave? And he was the next kind of comedian. He did comedian back in the 80s. So I went to him and said, let's open an open mic here in Greeley, because you can't do it in Morgan County. There's just not enough talent or people who want to do it around here. So
you still wanted to like open up like a comedy club even though you just bombed?
Right. I mean, you need practice. Mm-hmm. Every comic you've ever seen on stage, every comic from Bill Burr to Dave Chappelle to any comic has busted their ass to do what they do, to be that good. When you see a comic just slay on stage, that's because those jokes have been perfected over dozens and dozens and dozens of shows. You know, they've twerked them, they've had to rework them, they've had to figure out what doesn't work in them. It's a lot of work, you know, more work than you would think. You know, you think funny people just get up there and just rip it. No, man, nobody's good at this when they start. I mean, people are better than others, but nobody's amazing at it when they start. Nobody.
That's what I used to think is like, oh, they just go up there, grab the mic, and it looks like it's so like just free flowing, just relaxing, like they're just pulling shit out of their ass. But then you don't actually think about like all the work that goes into it.
When you see online hecklers, when they heckle them and that comic, boom, hits them right back, that comic has heard everything you can hear heckled at them. So they already have in their mind, no matter what you say, they have a comeback for it. And it's a comeback they've used 40 or 50 times. But as an audience, it's the first time you've seen it, so you're like, wow, this dude is really good. This guy is just let him have it, you know? I mean, a little inside baseball, but no, it's just everybody heckles. Everybody's gotten heckled, so it's a natural defense. There's a natural defense to it, you know? So then we start the open mic at Shorty's in Greeley, and we go every week, me and Adam. And eventually, I'll make this quick, we want to get more stage time. I tell Adam, Vokey, what's up, folks? We need more stage time. So that's when we started doing it in Fort Morgan. We opened our own night in Fort Morgan at the Clarion. It was May of 2011. God, I think we had like 90 to 100 people show up. Over the moon, right? I was the headliner.
That's crazy, yeah.
I had a wicked 25 minutes, you know, not an hour. But it was all friends and family. Word got out the next show was 200. And then for that first season we had, we had the fire marshal show up, or someone from the fire department said, you can't have this many people in here. It was 250 people at one point in time.
Really?
We were turning
Wow.
people away at the door because people in Fort Morgan, I didn't realize, or Morgan County, a lot of them haven't been to an actual real comedy show before. You've all seen it on TV, but a lot of them have never been to an actual comedy show before. And like I told you, that first time I was in that club, I was in it, that energy, that power of it, they got to taste that for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, and we were bringing headlining comics here, and it just it took over. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Do you remember the first time you actually, like, other than the first time, like, everybody was being supportive, like, the first time you actually killed it, how that feeling,
I don't know if I ever
how you,
killed
how you
it,
felt?
Yeah, it was probably at Shorty's. It was probably, you know, just one of those things. And even at the Comedy Works, I started doing better. You know, it's all about practice, you know, and you get your 5 minutes, your 10 minutes, you practice over and over and over. And you got to realize you can't invite your friends. If you have a friend that's doing comedy, they're going to invite you to everything. You know, they're going to whore their stuff out like people that do podcasts, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You got to whore it out, man, right?
We know.
Yeah, so I think we all know.
So were you the guy that they'd always invite over to the parties, be like, hey, like push the stick, like, hey,
No,
say something funny, like,
Yeah, no, dude, if you know a comedian, don't ever tell them that. Say something funny. They hate it. It's,
oh, I know they hate it. That's why I'm asking you.
Oh,
Did,
yeah.
did you get that a lot
no,
though?
everybody does. Yeah, when they, oh, you do comedy, and I don't consider myself a comedian by any stretch of the imagination. Ron Ferguson, who just headlined one of our shows, when people nowadays, when young comics do it for the first time, on their Facebook page goes comedian Bob Jackson or whatever, you know, and Ron always asks them, on your W-2s, on your taxes, is it say comedian? Is that how you're paying your bills? That's how I pay my bills, you know, and then that's obviously a no. So that's why I've never said I'm a comedian, but I've tried comedy before, you know, but
A great storyteller.
yeah, I try to be,
Yeah,
you
there you
know,
go.
kind of full of shit, I suppose. That's
what makes it great. Though.
that's what makes it great, though. But yeah, COVID stopped us. Adam and I were the longest running independent comedy show in Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we damn near made 10 years in a row of bringing comedy to Morgan County. We were bummed out. We were definitely bummed out. The last show we did was 2020 February. It was a Valentine's Day show in Sterling. 200 and some people showed up. It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. March, everything got shut down. You know, Colorado just got locked up. So it was a bummer. We wanted to hit that 10-year mark. You know what I mean? We were very proud of that. It was cool that all these comics from Denver knew who we were. You know, that's a weird feeling, but
Yeah.
it was nice that they knew who we were, you know, and they're on my phone when I call them. They're like, hey, Moose, you know, hey, can you come down April, whatever? Yeah, of course, you know. So it's been a blessing. It's one of those things where, like I told you when I first started, I wanted to be a famous comic. I wanted to succeed at this. But the fact I didn't doesn't mean your dream didn't fail. It just changed. You know, it became something I still loved. I love being the promoter. I love doing the MC of it. You know what I mean? I get up, I tell a few quick jokes, introduce the comics. You know what I mean? Bullshit around with them afterwards. It's fun. That's their profession. They're kicking ass at it. But I just like being in that hemisphere. You know, or that hemisphere. So
do you MC now more then?
yeah, I do all the MCing at the shows.
Okay, so you don't do much of like the actual
No.
stage time,
No,
I guess?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty good about younger comics that want to come down to a guest set, 5 minutes or whatever. Like Josh Finley's local, so I always tell him, come down and practice some stuff on our stage in front of a real crowd. You know what I mean? I tell them, like, the guys we've booked, they have hotel rooms. I don't know if you want to sleep with one of them or you can talk them into it, but if you want to come down, I usually give one of them, you know, a chance to do 5 minutes, you know, to get the opportunity I didn't have when I lived here, you know, to help out a young guy that still has that dream, that still wants to do it, you know.
Yeah.
We always try to help them out, so.
Yeah, because how much more different is it if you just have, say you're just in front of a few friends saying something funny, you know, you guys having some drinks, getting fucked up, compared to like actually having a crowd. I mean, I imagine it's completely different, right?
Night and day, man. Night and day. So open mic nights are the worst situation to be in ever, man, because it's all comics in the room. None of them are going to laugh at you. Maybe your friends that are there, you know, but you're just getting up there in front of people and just getting the timing down, getting the joke down or whatever. So when they come down to a show like this, it's a paid show. People there expect to see great comedy, you know. And Morgan County, I will tell you, has and Logan County, notoriously awesome audiences. You know, every comic that's came down here has just been blown away at how energetic they are and how much they love it when they come down. They've loved this show for so long, and The cool thing is we don't get 200 anymore. We get about a little over 100, 120, and that is better for the simple fact that now we're getting people who just come to see comedy. You know,
So what was it before? Like when it was more people?
it was a thing to do in town. It was the place to be.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was what's happening in town. So now it's just people who love to see, and it's the same, the regular same faces I see over and over. You know, ratting down at Dana Horst used to come so often. We had horse parking. We'd always save them a table. You know what I mean? Because they were always there. You know, so it was an ongoing joke. So
It's crazy though, because like we grew up in Morgan County, but I never really like heard about like any comedy or anything going on,
right.
until like literally like a few months ago.
Right. Well, we just came back and started doing it this last year at Brush, and I'm gonna whore my stuff out. The Bullhucker podcast. I have a podcast as well. If you go to that page, you'll always see. We're gonna have another one April 22nd. Tickets will go on sale probably 1st of April. We do it at the Bunker Hill at Pettis Park in Brush, the golf course. It holds 80 seats, man. You know what I mean? So it's a nice packed audience. Get your tickets early.
Get them early. Yeah, we'll put the links down for that
thank
event.
you.
That'd be great. We'll put all the links down so you guys can. Do you guys have them for sale already or not yet?
Not yet. Probably till April 1st.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
that way people can stay alert.
Yeah, I don't get too crazy about getting it too early because then people forget. You know what I mean? So, but we brought these shows back to Brush. I started missing it. Adam and I had talked about after 10 years. I think we're good. We're done. You know what I mean? We've ran the gauntlet. We've done what we wanted to do. We proved what we wanted to prove. You know, and then COVID showed up. You know, and took it from us. You know, so I called him, and he's got a girlfriend in Nebraska now. His daughter's living in North Dakota, so he's always on the go. So he wasn't really his thing anymore. So I'm a city councilman in Brush. I got a hold of the rec director, and I'm like, let's do comedy, dude. You know, golf courses are just money pits in the winter. You know, so let's get the people that work there some money. Let's get let's get it going. And Lance Schwint, what's up, Lance? Was awesome about it. So we've done so far. We started doing 2 nights, but it's so hard to sell 2 nights because people have shit going on. So starting this year, we're just gonna do 1 night and get your tickets early, man. You know, just knock it out.
How often are you guys trying to do them?
We did 3 this year, man. We did 1 in October, 1 in December, and 1 in February. For the reasons being, October is the kickoff. You try to avoid all the high school football stuff because high school football games will kill it. They will just murder that audience. You know, they're so big in little towns. December, we do it for the Christmas parties. A lot of people just come. You know, it's like the local eye doctor has like 6 employees, so he buys them dinner, brings them to the show. You know, easy peasy. Doesn't take them to Denver. And then in February is Valentine's Day, so that's a home run. That's a slam dunk. You know what I mean? Every year.
So like during COVID, you guys didn't try doing the Zoom comedy like a bunch of other people.
The virtual one?
We didn't, but man, did you guys get a chance to look at any of those or try those out?
I heard stories.
I mean, you see some, but it's just like the whole thing about like we're saying comedy. You're a storyteller, so if you're standing over here, I'd imagine. I mean, that you're kind of reading the audience, knowing what way to go. If you don't have a fucking audience, where do you go?
Dude, it's a horror show. I understand, man. Every comic buddy I have that did that just hated it, just absolutely hated it. But you do what you got to do. You still have to practice. You still got to put the work in. That's just that's the avenue they had to work with. So that's what they did. And I mean, I got onto a few of them to listen, to support a few friends that did it, man. And I'm just like, man, they're telling the joke, but you don't hear there's not that crowd interaction. So is that good? Do you like it? Do you not like it? You know,
it's like the hecklers or whatever you're saying. You know,
yeah, it is.
You need them.
I think the only thing that turned out good from what I understand is that you had other comics on their offices doing it. So when you tell a joke, those comics at the end of it would be like, hey, you told this joke. Here's a few tags. Hey, you told this joke. Here's you ever thought about going this way instead of that way? You know, so you got feedback from them. It was almost like a writing group.
Okay.
They kind of help write your material, which sometimes helps. You know?
So it started more of as that than like entertainment, I guess, for other people.
Ultimately, it wanted to be entertainment. Like they were trying to charge at one point in time, you know, and I paid. You know, I paid the $10 or whatever to get online, you know, to support them, you know, of course. Because I always say, if you have a friend that has a business, support that business. Don't ask for free shit.
You shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. You should support them. You know what I mean? Like, you guys, you know, you do a lot of advertising, right? Well, if you have a friend, they should pay whatever your quote is. That's what your quote is. You know what I mean? Support the boys. You know. Yeah. So that's just my opinion. You should never. You can ask for favors, I guess, but if you have a friend with a business, that's how you support them, by supporting them.
If they're your real friend, or if you actually want to support them,
Right.
then you'll actually do that.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that say they support,
Right.
but they can't even click the share button on Facebook on your post.
Amen, dude. It's so tough. But getting people to leave reviews and share I mean, if you have the answer, I'd love to hear it, man. So, yeah.
We're hoping you're going to give it to
Oh,
us.
shit. We're all shit out of luck on this one, boys. So,
But so how necessary do you think comedy is in today's fucking woke shit? You know, because I feel like me personally, I love if I'm having like a bad day or whatever. You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, but I'm just like, if I'm having a bad day, you know, I'm just like, let me just listen to some stand-up comedy. You can never go wrong with stand-up comedy. I feel like they're necessary because, I mean, it changes your mood, but you can get away with so much more shit.
they're the last of the badasses. You know what I mean? They don't. My favorite part, I understand. When it comes to offending people, I guess it is what it is. Whatever your opinion is, it is. But do you remember when Dave Chappelle went on and he got in trouble for the transgender jokes, whatever?
Oh, yeah. The funniest one.
Yeah, I don't know if this is, take it for however you want. My opinion on this is the fact he doubled down and came back and didn't apologize for shit.
That's the best part.
I respected it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Made it even funnier.
And you know what he said? I'm rich, so you don't want to fucking cancel me? Go ahead. I'll go back to my mansion, hang out with my kids. I don't give a shit, you know? But if you listen to that episode, at the end, he tells a story about a transgender friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his friend. So it's like,
He's not a monster, but people hear what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Like I told you earlier, anymore, I don't want to get into politics by any means, but people no longer want to hear your opinion come out of your mouth. They want to hear their opinion come out of your mouth.
they just want you to agree with them.
That's-
They necessarily
that's it.
don't want you to,
Right.
they just want you to be like, yeah, Larry,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love Bill Burr. I mean, that dude, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. That dude takes shots at fucking everybody, you know? But I love it. I mean, he just there's so many great comedians out there still, you know? Before COVID happened, remember the roasts on Comedy Central?
Oh, yeah.
So good, dude.
The Trump roast was...
Oh, yeah. His was great. I think the Flavor Flav one was my favorite, though, man. Did you watch that one?
No, I didn't get a chance.
Dude, that was like the original one. So good. I mean, that one was... I think they had to drop back from that one a little bit. Like, it got ugly. It got, like, awesome ugly, but it got ugly, man. So
Imagine if they did something like that today.
Oh, my God.
People are freak out.
It'll last like 30 seconds. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
cut to black and just leave nothing there instead.
Maybe, but sometimes every now and again, something like that gets right through and nobody seems to care. It's the weirdest thing. I can't understand it. I don't...
But you know what's the best thing? When they say something that people would say is offensive, but the crowd is just like,
They love
just
it.
dying.
They love it, you
So
know?
it's like, if the crowd is dying, then like, what is that bullshit then?
I think
know?
you have to remember sometimes that the loudest person isn't always the majority.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's amazing. Like, there's running comedy shows for 10 years. My favorite thing in the is to watch when a comic comes on and tells a joke that's horribly offensive, you know, and people do this. They look around. And then they start laughing. They want to make sure anybody that can be offended by that joke is not sitting in their vicinity, you know?
That's going to jump on their back.
Oh, I'll tell you a few of them when we're off here because I don't want to steal anybody's joke on there. That's their joke. But there's been a few that told, I'll tell you later, but this guy, Kevin Shook, had told this joke, and I looked at him, and I was like, holy shit, he said it out loud. Oh, my. And that crowd, it literally took 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and then they just blew up, man. They went nuts over this joke, but it had to take them a minute, like, oh, shit.
That's what's crazy. Usually if you're just hanging out, say with just like friends, you know.
Yeah.
If we're honest, we'd probably say the most fucked up shit, you know. But that's funny, you know.
Right.
But we mean it in no like harm, you know.
Right.
I have one of my best friends, you know. We talk so much shit and talk about, Eric knows who he is,
Oh,
Matt Graham. Shout out to Matt Graham.
What's up, Matt Graham?
He says, oh man, he
You
gets it.
You like him.
You
Yeah?
love him,
Oh.
yeah. He says some fucked up shit, but I mean, it's the funniest shit.
That's comedy though, right? It's supposed
Right.
to be funny. Like, it's gonna offend some people, and that I think is what makes it funnier. If the shoe fits, put that bitch on.
Absolutely. The rule I have is it's okay to laugh at anybody and anything, but when it's your turn, when they're dogging you, you better have a smile on your face.
Exactly.
You better have a sense of humor about it when you're the one, you know, being shit on, you know? So that's my rule, you know? Because the minute you're offended, then you shut your mouth. Don't make fun of anybody else. Don't talk about anybody else. If you can't take the joke, don't start none, you know?
Exactly. Did you have any, when you're doing more stand up, did you have like a ritual or something that you would do, like a certain way to get creative, to write?
I'd start drinking, man. It was,
Get hammered.
Dude, I've actually walked away from it quite a bit with the drinking. I still do. We did a shot before this, just a celebratory shot.
Water.
Water. Yeah, water. Holy water, thank you. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, see, there it is. Yeah. It's creeping up.
Senility and old age. I used to drink quite a bit. I worked for Budweiser. I worked for the bar, you know what I mean? So it was just part of the culture I was in, So, and it's the worst thing to write with. But I mean, I would sit at home and I'd get a few in me. And then I had a notebook I carried everywhere that would write stuff down, Excuse me, sorry. I'd wake up, I'd read that notebook, and I'd think to myself, some of it I'd be like, that's pretty good. And some of it I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, And I wrote it down,
Yeah.
So actually, towards the end, before COVID hit, it was the end of the 2019 season because we never went through summer. And I took that notebook on stage, and I'm like, okay, guys, this is at this point, that thing was like 8 years old. Here's what I thought was funny in 2012, And I started reading some of the jokes out of it, and there was a feel like, I shouldn't say that. Fuck it, And the crowd started laughing, you know what I mean? And this was stuff I'd written way back when I first started, So it was kind of cool.
So did you write a lot of stuff that never got out?
Oh, tons. Every comic has just notebook after notebook after notebook. Some are very organized. They'll organize now on iPads or whatever. They'll organize joke by category, or there's a lot of ways to do it. But for me, it was you go to open mic nights, you bring the thing on stage, you just start throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. So yeah.
Did you have like any comics that you like looked up to like while you're going through it?
My favorite comics.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerfield is my all-time favorite comic. I love Rodney Dangerfield. You guys know who he is?
I don't.
Oh no! You guys
have to go look him up now.
He's been passed away for a long time. He's from like the 70s, 80s.
Okay.
They're growing. No respect. No respect. God, you guys are so. How old are you guys?
I'm 28.
Oh my gosh.
23.
Oh, see, yeah, no, he's been dead longer than that, I think. But, Dangerfield, and then Bernie Mac. You guys familiar with Bernie Mac?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I used to watch the Bernie Mac show.
Oh yeah. Do you ever see Ocean's 11 or 12 or any of the Oceans?
Yeah, I was never really into him.
I was trying to think. What else?
I've seen the Atlantic Ocean.
That's an ocean. Anyway, he was awesome too. But I became a bigger fan of his when I read his biography. I said I'd like to read when I have a chance, but biographies, I love biographies. And a lot of things he says, how motivational he was. He comes from a bad part of Chicago. And if you read his book, Bernie Mac, Maybe You Won't Cry No More, man, such a good read, His mom it's called Macisms, and it's just advice in life, man. And I thought to myself, man, it's so great. As a matter of fact, I've been watching your guys' podcast quite a bit. You guys do a lot of motivational stuff. And you should read it. It's actually a good read. And there's one quote on there that it's always stuck with me is, people beat you because they outlast you.
Yeah.
They beat you because they work harder and they work longer than you. When you give up, they keep going, And that, for some reason, always just stuck with me, Great book. But back to your question, it's Bernie Mac and Rodney Dangerfield are my two. They're both passed away now.
What was that book called?
Bernie Mac, Maybe You Won't Cry No More.
Gotta write that down.
Yeah.
No, that's great. No, that's a good quote that you threw out there. It's good.
Yeah.
Because that's how it all is. Like you with comedy, with business, whatever you're doing,
Right.
What is it? The storm has only come to pass. It's not here to stay.
Right.
Unless we fucking hold on to the storm and don't let it go.
I was listening to one of your episodes, and you had a quote I really liked called "We make our own prisons."
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, no, that's a great. That really stuck with me too.
We build our own prisons, financially, mentally, physically, whatever.
Is that a quote, or did you come up with that?
I just kind of so much bullshit that I say and I read, But I just kind of came up. I think we do. I think we come up with our own prisons.
Yeah. Because
people would say with bills, you get stuck in a fucking place with prison, or you want to do this, maybe like you want to do comedy or whatever you want to do, but then you're just like, shit, I don't know if I can do it no more because I got wife, I got kids, and I got all this shit, and now I'm stuck. Now I fucking hate. Now you start hating your life, your job. You That's where the haters come from.
Right.
That's
It's kind of what me and my fiance were talking about last night. It's just it goes along with this the breaking the cycle of whatever, because it goes along with like people are stuck in the prison and their kids see their parents grow up and they're stuck in the prison, so they just stay in that same cycle. And then it's about like, what are you gonna do to break that cycle for you and for your future generations to come?
I agree.
And that's one of the toughest things. Like, a lot of people stay in the cycle because it's hard.
Right.
Not anybody can do it. So it takes a really like strong, fucking tough person to actually fucking do it.
Right. Well, for me, how I took it when you said that, how I interpreted it for my life is, for many, many years, I told you I had a great support system, but I've also had people in my life that told me I couldn't do stuff. And I fucked up. I believed them. On some of them, I believed them, that maybe I couldn't do it, even like being part of the city council. That's not something I ever thought about doing. It just how it came about, it just happened, or the comedy or just whatever in a job. I would always doubt myself a lot. I did have a great support system and they told me I could do it, but then for some reason that voice is louder when someone says you can't do it. That voice for some reason it echoes louder. You know what I mean?
So me personally, that's why it's kind of stupid, I guess. I like it, but I talk to myself a lot. Like, say like that, like, you can't do it. Like, you can tell yourself you can do it,
right.
And I talk to myself like, if I believed half the shit I fucking thought, or I told myself,
right,
I'd probably be fucked up, like in all aspects of life. But that's why, like, you get up, like, stop being a little bitch. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, But, it's different for each person, because there's some people that you can't talk to like that because they need it, like, I guess more mellow. Me, I'm just like, do you know David? You guys know David Goggins? Like, he talks shit, So and I'm more of that way, Like, stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself. Get the fuck up. No one's here to fucking save you,
Right.
You got people that support you in your corner, but like, you can't. I think you can't feel sorry for yourself, because no one. When you feel sorry for yourself, people don't want to help you either.
What age were you when that attitude set in?
Well, I probably had to be 23 when my daughter was born.
Oh, okay. How many kids you got?
I got 2. She's 5.5, and my baby boy's 1.5 years.
That's awesome.
So when she was born, then that's why I was like. So I literally did. I had a speech yesterday, and I talked about it. Like, I always picture my daughter telling me, and my daughter and my boy telling me this, like, your actions are so loud, Dad, that I can't hear you. So it's like, when I don't, most of the time, 90% of the time I work out every morning. And it's like, when I don't want to get up, I'm just like, what's my daughter going to think? If she gets up and I'm just fucking sitting here watching fucking Netflix,
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you got to get the fuck up and you got to do some shit.
Right.
Set the example, I think.
That's awesome. How about you, man?
I don't.
You made us get a little deep, Larry. Come on.
For me, it kind of started with like our older brother. 'Cause we have an older brother. He got into the self development kind of world.
Okay.
And then kind of like slowly brought us into it. But it was always like for me, it was always like just motivation. And like we talk about here on the podcast, that motivation is different than discipline, because motivation comes and goes, but discipline is something you build up and it sticks with you. So I was always that just like surface kind of level, just, oh yeah, let's go do this shit. But then I'd get home and I'd be like, I'm too tired.
Yeah.
And it wasn't probably until maybe like 2 years ago that I kind of started changing my mindset. Coincidentally, it's also when I started to get serious about my weight, because I was up to 320 pounds, and it's kind of like a
how much are you down now?
I'm down 70 pounds.
That's the shit, brother. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome.
Still got 30 more to go because I want to complete the 100.
Right.
But when I actually started being honest with myself and looking at me, like, first of all, it's like, how did I let it get to this point?
Right.
So that for me, that was a real like heartfelt kind of time. I just being honest with yourself, and then kind of from there, I started trying to build my discipline more than motivation. And I started that journey probably around 2 years ago.
That's
and then,
awesome.
I think then was the turning point for me. Because once I started taking time, like taking accountability, taking action, and just actually sticking with what I'm going to say I'm going to do, that's when it all changed for me.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's really great, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I lost 40 pounds last year, and then I just get so wrapped up in so much stuff right now with the podcast, the city council, a job, you know what I mean? Those are all excuses, by the way. Brett Stevens, my buddy. What's up, Brett? He told me, no, you just don't make time to work out. It's not that you can't work out. You don't make time for it. And I was like,
Priority.
Want, yeah, you know.
If it's a priority, you're gonna wake your ass up at 5 a.m. or go to sleep at 1 a.m. to make sure you get that workout in.
I just read a book called Atomic Habits. Have you guys read that?
Yeah.
No.
You have read it?
I'm
What a great book.
sure. I've read a lot. I think I have read it.
It's basically a book on why you form bad habits, how you form bad habits, and how you form good habits. But I mean, it's really, I don't want to say change my life to be all dramatic, change my life, but man, there's a lot of stuff in there. I was like, holy shit, that's what's up, you know?
Yeah. No, first of all, I mean, congrats. I mean, you two getting down 40 pounds. That's not a fucking small number, dude. If you think about it, that's a fucking like a toddler on your back all day, if you think about it. So that's a lot.
Yeah. I told people I want to see my pecker again. That's my fucking motivation. You know what I'm saying? I don't like braille, like feel for it anymore. I'm like, oh, there it is. Hey, buddy, you know.
What are you doing?
Hey, look, you're the same color and everything. That's good. I was worried. I didn't know, you know.
I don't know if you're still there.
It's crazy because this morning I was doing some Bulgarian split squats, and I had
What the fuck is a Bulgarian split squat?
It's pretty much like you put your leg on a bench, and you're doing kind of like a squat with one leg.
I got you. Okay.
And I was doing them with the 30s, and I was like, I'm doing them with weight. And this is 60 pounds. I've lost 70. Like, how was I walking around before?
Yeah.
And then sometimes when I just work out by myself, I have like those thoughts, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Because no matter what you do in life, you will become accustomed to it. You just become. Sometimes you just learn.
Asphyxiation.
You just learn to live with it. You know, and it's a scary thing. You know, it's a scary thing. So yeah. I've been watching your podcast. You guys are pretty serious on this. That's why I want to get serious real quick. But it's a great podcast.
You made us get too serious.
No, it's great.
No, we just go all over with it. So I mean, sometimes we get to the serious part, like because we want to know, like, whatever you're doing in life, like that you're doing, like, it's a little serious because it was an easy fucking route to get there. You know, you had to go through some demons and stuff, you know, to get there, you know, and to be where you're at, you still got to go through the demons, I think.
Right.
I think it's serious because that's kind of the turning point in our lives that mindset changed.
Yeah, that's cool, man. No, I've been enjoying it. It's great. I listen to the One Eye Ellas, and I listen to the Whiskey Wine and Whatever girls. What's her name? She's a business owner of a, gosh darn it, I watched it 2 weeks ago.
Lori?
Yeah, I think so. A Hispanic lady.
Which one?
It wasn't in this studio. It was in the old studio.
The old studio?
She was a business owner. She started in, her brother had started the company. She started there in college.
Is Sina? Sina?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good episode.
She's Italian?
Oh.
Yeah, I think her background is like Italian or something like that. Yeah, but she has a good like company that she has good, you know, making more than 7 figures.
But if you were Hispanic, that would be okay. All right, join the club. It's all good.
So how'd you get around to starting the Bull Hugger? Was it just like something like just to fuck around and find out, or?
Yeah, well, no, it's actually been a long time coming. So Christopher Titus is also he's gotten a little political nowadays, so I've kind of floated away from him. But like his first album, Norman Rockwell is Dying, is one of my favorite comedy episodes, one of my favorite stand-up specials of all time. Genius. He had something called a podcast, and I did not know what the hell that was. It's like 2012. But I was a huge Titus fan. I saw him in concert in Denver a few times. So I get online and I listen to this podcast thing, and I'm thinking, man, this is cool as shit. I really liked it, you know? So I started just diving into him. Diving. So then Adam and I started what the first podcast was called the Juggernaut Brothers. And that was way back in the day. And it was the most generic of podcasts because we first started, right? We bring comics on. We knew, like, how'd you get started? Well, you know, just the regular
background.
Yeah, just the questions, right? And then it morphed into different stuff because I didn't like it. So at the end, the premise of the podcast at the end I'd like to do again, but it's just too hard to make happen with people. What we'd do is we'd have 3 parts to a podcast, right? We'll say that me and a host and you're the first guest. I'm going to start on the second part. The second part would be we'd find funny stories in the news and we'd just riff on them for a little bit. Adam Vokey hunts these things down. He should be a reporter, man. I don't know where he finds these guys' stories, but they're amazing, you know? And then the third part of it, Monico, would be you'd bring some kind of topic that you want to talk about. Like you brought up woke earlier, or the abortion issue, or whatever you want to talk about. And we're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about it, okay? And that would be the third, okay? So now, say Erick's the next guest. The first part of your podcast would be taking over his conversation about his topic. And you would have to weigh in on your thoughts, and we talk about your thoughts and whatever. And then the second part would be the funny stories, and then the third part would be whatever you want to talk about. The guest after you would have to take over your conversation, and see what I'm saying? It's like the never-ending conversation. But to get people motivated to try and think of topics all the time was, I mean, it was a bitch.
It's a mission, yeah.
If you can make it happen, I think it would be a great podcast. But
yeah.
So we went 50 episodes, didn't make it, and I just missed doing it. You know, I had some of the old equipment. So I have this idea. The Bullhucker podcast is what we do is we bring on a guest who tells 3 stories about their life. And the kicker is only 2 stories can be true. One's got to be either borrowed, made up, or halfway made up. And I call Adam, and Adam's always been, I've been the gas, he's been the brakes. And I'll explain what it means. I'm flight of fancy, man. Let's just, I'm horrible about it. You know, my head's in the clouds. And Adam's the one that's like, okay, we got to pump the brakes, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you know, get feet on the ground there, loser. But I told him, here's what I think. You know, do you think that's a good idea? And he goes, I think it's a great fucking idea. I was so bowled over. He was so, you know, like, whoa, okay. So we started doing the podcast, you know, and we moved from business to business because we like to support small business. That's one thing I like to do because if you don't support small business, it goes away. You know, you got to support local business. You have to do it, you know, or it goes away. And
America's built on the backbone of small businesses more than corporations. So yeah,
absolutely, man. And people love to bitch when there's no options. Well, support small business, you know. So we go from business to business. I think, as I told you guys earlier, we have something worked out with the Emporium and Brush, who you guys should have on here, by the way.
Yeah, we'll reach out to them, see if they
Dana Gilbert.
some stuff.
Yeah, they'd be great here. And we might have a little studio going on there. But that's how that podcast started. And I really do love doing it. I work for DFA, so I have my little iPad with me. I do all my editing in the truck while I'm waiting to unload. You know,
really?
Well, a good part of it.
So you just show up to DFA to work on your iPad?
That's what I clocked in, and I'm like, if they look for me, tell me. You ever seen the movie Euro Trip where that kid's got the phone and have you ever seen that movie? Euro Trip, where he gets like an internship with this lawyer, but he goes to Europe with his friends. He keeps answering the phone and like telling him, oh, I'm in the study, or oh, I'm in B-Wing, and he goes the whole summer without even showing up to work. No, I drive a tanker. So I go pick up the milk from the dairy. When you go to La Prina, you got to wait in line. So as I'm sitting there waiting, most guys are watching Netflix or Facebook. I just start editing a podcast, you know. So it's giving me something to do.
You're just like, fuck. I
That's
hope,
what's up,
I hope
though.
there's a fucking line there.
Oh,
so
my
I can just
God.
hang out for a while.
If I got to do this on my own time, shit, you know. But because you do all the editing, right? Or
He does for
you
the
do the
podcast.
editing.
So I do the podcast. He does the business set.
Oh, okay.
So,
I misunderstood. So it's a lot of work, right?
yeah, it's a shitload.
Yeah, but I mean, I enjoy doing it. So I don't know about you.
Yeah,
But
I mean, for us, the editing's the hard part. This, I mean, we're just I fucking love this. We're just having fun, you know, just talking, editing. I'm just like, fuck, now I gotta edit it.
Oh, I know. There's been a few times like I thought the audio was corrupt. That's about soul crushing, man. You know.
Yeah.
I got it back, but I thought I'd erased one of the, and I was like, because I don't want to go by the audio of the camera.
Oh yeah.
Because how shit would that sound, you know?
As long as you have the audio, you can just put a thumbnail or some shit for the video.
Right. Do you guys do the audio part of this podcast on Spotify or whatever?
So we have different so Spotify, we actually upload it as a video also.
Okay.
Because you can do that on there. But like it's Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, like on everything. It's just the audio.
Where do you do your who do your hosting from?
From Anchor?
Anchor. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You like that?
I mean, it's good because it goes through all of them. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Good
I don't know
so
if
far.
Yeah.
it's good so far. I mean, I don't know.
That's cool. I do Podbean, so
I mean,
yeah, it's nice because you
Check out.
you load up to one and it sends it everywhere. So
yeah, that's how that one is. It just goes everywhere.
that's cool.
It's already a hassle in itself.
How'd you guys get started doing this?
This, I don't know. How did we get
So
started?
it kind of started like because we work a lot with like small business owners, you know, and we're just like, we sit there and talk to them like, okay, what type of marketing stuff do they need? And as you're sitting there, you learn so much about them. Like,
Right.
dude, like we should kind of have some of these people just record it, you know, have it on air so
Right.
people actually know like how they started, how they grew this, you know, and then it's a good little platform for them, you know, to be able to share their story because usually especially for a small business, people want to know who's behind it, you know?
Of course.
So that's why we're like, dude, what if you just give them a little bit more of a spotlight behind the business owner, you know? And that's kind of how.
Because we also kind of knew we wanted to have a podcast, just not specifically what. Because like we would watch like a ton of podcasts, like especially Joe Rogan's, like,
right.
Oh, we want to be like Joe Rogan, have our own kind of stuff. We kind of played around for a little bit. I mean, we've had it for like about 2 years. 2.5.
No, it's less than that. I think.
Less?
I think we're coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just we're in business. I mean, that's just kind of the people we're around with the most. But I mean, it's for everybody. Like honestly, like it's just people that are doing impactful, great stuff in the community. That's kind of how we put it. From all walks of life. I mean, we've been everywhere with it.
That's awesome, man.
How long have you had Bullhooker?
Started in August of 2020, you know, because everybody started a podcast in 2020, right? You know, you're home doing shit. At the Sands Theater, they actually let me film in there because it was vacant at the time before it got purchased. And then we did it for like 15 episodes, and then I caught COVID. Everybody in my family got COVID, so we said, you know what, let's just back off a while. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I don't know, 6 months later, I started getting the itch again, like, I might fire up the Bullhooker again. And then I was like, why not, you know? So, but I kind of gave myself COVID, so it's what it is, you know, like an idiot. So we, being on the city council of Brush, I'm pretty pro-police, you know what I mean? I back the blue, you know what I mean? And being on the city council, you have to. You got to realize that cops are, man.
I don't know if just city council. I think everybody should, because nobody wants to be sitting there with the problem and they're like, what the fuck do I call if there's no police?
Yeah, well, that drives me crazy. I'm like, well, I don't know if I trust our police here. I'm like, well, if someone's breaking into your house to rob you blind, your trust is going to get fucking filled pretty quick now, isn't it? You know?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to call your neighbor or your buddy. You're going to call the guy, you know, anyway. So we had this idea at the city council. What we did, take a step back. When everything got shut down, I'd call the comedians. You know, you get basically contracts with them, you know, and I said, hey, man, I don't know what to do here, you know. And I can send you a check if you need to or whatever, you know, because we owe you the money. And all of them said the same thing. They're like, you know what, man, this is a shit show. Nobody's paying. Just don't worry about it, man. You know, thank you for everything. And I told them, this comes back. You're my first phone call, you know. So come October of 2020, November, anyway, what we did was we said, okay, well, we got that money from the comics, so we're gonna have a comedy show for Morgan County law enforcement. We invited the sheriff, for Morgan PD, Brush PD, and it was such a cool thing that Kim Dykes, what's up, Kim, and Matt Gordon, what's up, Matthew? They started making phone calls to businesses all over Morgan County. Would you like to donate some door prizes? Dude, the outpouring was fucking phenomenal, dude. I mean, like Slick Spot gave us $800 in tires. Someone donated a fucking 55-inch TV. You know what I mean? For the police officers and law enforcement. You know, it was so bad that when we pulled our ticket, we'd have to give them like 2 or 3 things.
Really?
You know? Yeah. I mean, there's only one business, and I won't call them out. I should call them out, that refused it. No, we're not interested. Everybody else they called said, yeah, what do you need? You know, or
remember, motherfucker, when you want to.
Well, I don't go there. I don't go there so anymore. But even if it was money, food, I mean, like Pepsi donated all the pop, the Buffalo plant donated all the meat, the hospital donated all the chicken. But anyway, the reason I gave myself COVID was it was October, and the mayor at the time, Rick Bain, what's up, Rick? Love you, brother. Said, do you think we should wear masks? And I'm like, nah, this shit's over, right? It's the summer. This shit's done, bro. You know, it's a cut deal. And he goes, yeah, you're right, bro. He got COVID. This actually got COVID. I got COVID. And so it was. How
bad was it?
For me, it wasn't. The scary part about me getting COVID was my cough would be so severe, I'd almost lose consciousness. Really? That's how bad I'd cough. I didn't lose the taste. I didn't lose smell. I had a slight fever. That's how I got tested. But I drive a truck. And I was coming back from Yuma, and I started coughing so bad, I got a whole, so I yanked that fucker to the side of the road, and I sit there for a second. I'm like, should I call somebody? You know, I don't know what to do here. So I stood in the utility lane and drove 35 miles an hour back home. I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, if I pass out behind the wheel of this, someone pays the price. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I go home and told my boss, Jesse, and he's like, well, what do you think? And so I better get tested. I went home, took my temperature, and it was barely like 102, you know, but it was funny because COVID was still pretty low at the time. And Carol Payne was my doctor, who's a badass. And she was just bundled up, man. Had everything on. And I was sitting there. She's like, put your head back. She's like this at the back of her, and like stepping to me like, the Ebola virus. Swabs me, then gets back. And okay, go home. I'll call you tomorrow. I said, all right, Carol. She goes, don't go anywhere. You got the vid. And I was like, son of a bitch. But then for 2 weeks, I stayed home. And at the end of that second week, my mom got it. And hers was bad. Like that was the first time I thought I might lose her, Damn. So it was pretty eye-opening. However you feel about COVID, my uncle got it bad in the hospital. So however you feel about it, it was a real thing. You know what I mean? And I mean, it scared the shit out of me on a few some people, So I was dating a girl at the time who worked for disabled folks. Like they had a house full of COVID people. And she's like fucking Wolverine, man. She never came down with this stuff. And that's all she was around people with COVID, man. I'm like, how do you not get this shit,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how some people, affected it way different than other people.
It was it pick and choose, man. Did you guys get it?
No, I don't think I ever got it.
I never had like symptoms. I probably got it, but I never had any symptoms or anything.
But then so me when like that time is when I amped up my fitness more. I got a little more in shape. I was doing something every day.
Right.
Go out for a run. So and I want to think. I mean, I never really got sick, but probably had it honestly. But
A lot of people did, man.
I feel like everybody probably got it, but it just like maybe it was like less severe.
It was like The Walking Dead. Everybody's got it until you die. You don't come back.
Yeah. I just think that the main controversy with that was like how it started.
Yeah.
And how it was like portrayed in the media was just a shit show.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, however it started. I don't know. If someone ate a bat or whatever. I've been pretty hungry. I mean, I'm saying so. I've had some pretty questionable Denny's meals that might have led to something. Like
some shit that's pretty questionable.
Diarrhea is going across the Colorado Plains. I'm like, shit, that's me. I'm sorry. I fucked it up. So
that's great. So what's next? What's next for the moose?
I mean,
for Moosey.
For Moosey, that's right. My mom will love that. At the city council thing, just keep doing the bullhucker thing. We'll start doing comedy shows again, but I'm pretty content. I have a job I really like, so this is all stuff I do just because I enjoy it. There's not a clear plan. At one point in time, I thought about opening comedy shows all over northeastern Colorado, finding venues and doing this, but it's a lot of work and I'm not really in that world anymore. I enjoy that world. I enjoy it when I'm in it, but for me, it's just keep on what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. As you get a little older, you just want to just relax and just find a hobby you do. My mom and uncle are both retired. I got to find stuff for them to do like their children. So, I don't want to ever be that. So for me, it's just keep on keeping on, man. You know what I mean? Just do stuff that makes you happy.
So if people want to know a little bit more about you or just see a little bit more about you, like where can people find you?
Man, I'm a whore, man, so I'm everywhere. Bullhucker.com is where the Bullhucker podcast is. That's where all the comedy shows are going to be listed when they're listed, all that kind of stuff. Social media, Larry Moose Lundstrom is where you find me. I'm on Instagram. I got a little TikTok like everybody else, you know what I mean? So I put clips of the Bullhucker on there and whatever. I just put a clip on there about so I'm a fat guy, so I shit a lot. So my boss actually,
in your new office,
yeah, Larry's office, and so I was like, how do you not laugh at that, bro? And so my next step is to sit outside that bathroom when someone's in there with a camera, and when they come out, I'm like, you son of a bitch, you leave a quarter,
I'll start charging you bitches to use.
That's what it is, man. And if you see, it's like a prison bathroom. That's what I love about that bathroom. It's for truck drivers, man. You can't be fancy. So I think I might get a little desk in there with a little.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
that's great.
No, but we appreciate you coming out here. Honestly, it was fun.
Yeah, I've been like I said, I've been watching this podcast for a while. It's cool to see another podcast in this area. I don't know. Is there another one besides us two?
I don't think so. Honestly,
where's the whiskey one? Whatever, guys.
I'm sorry, man. By the way, you guys are doing our podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be on there. So make sure you follow this one, and for sure, you want to get to the Bullhucker and check out. He has a lot of cool stories. Make it.
Actually, Michelle Staley will be my co-host tomorrow for you guys. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I brought someone you knew. So, Michelle, she's fucking crazy.
Yeah, she's fucking crazy. So,
but I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'll say make sure you subscribe to these guys' podcast. It's great, and it's a local podcast with local people, man. It's cool to see this happening, and hit these guys up. How do they get on this podcast?
Just shoot us a DM, just message us, leave a comment down below, or just message us directly to Monico or to Eric, just shoot us a message and we'll get you scheduled in to hang out.
Before we go, can I say one thing?
Go for it.
We had a discussion. Half this podcast came off camera, right? We talked forever.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. The thing we all struggle with sometimes is having people come on and be nervous to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. So if you want to do it, it takes people getting outside their comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. Like we talked about today, surrounding yourself with people who say you can't do it, you know. You should try it. You should actually come in here and talk about it. People tell me this all the time. And I won't say it drives me crazy, but it's almost like the script I hear. I'm not interesting. I don't have stories. I don't, this, that, and the other. And I got to tell them, you do have stories. You just got to remember them. Everybody's lived a crazy life. You know what I mean? Everybody, the shit that you survived through is nuts, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to come on these podcasts. Come on here and talk to these guys. This is about business, right?
We talk about everything. We go everywhere with it.
Yeah.
So
we like to talk shit.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. I mean, we grow up as us two. You grow up with three brothers. I mean, it's three of us.
Right.
You learn to talk shit fast.
Right. And if you come on this podcast, you come on Totem, it's three of you two and somebody else. So if you're not the only one doing the talking, unless you're me, then you're the only one doing the talking. You're a whore. But
got to use them up.
That's right. But these two guys are here to talk, and they're here to interact with you, and it's fun. And I guarantee when you're done on the Totem Podcast, you're going to enjoy it. It's fun when it comes out for everybody. You guys are amazing about putting the reels out, little bits and pieces here, so people get to see it. So you guys are really good about that. I need to get better about it. I'm a little envious. I'm like, these guys are fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, because if people are nervous, we also do a shot.
We got the icebreaker. Don't worry. The icebreaker.
That's right. These guys, you drink? I was like, oh, fuck, they know. So, hey, guys.
They've been fucking following me around.
That's right. Juan must have said something fucking, I don't know. So, hey, guys, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you again, once
Appreciate
again.
it.
I mean, it's a blast, honestly.
Yeah.
And we're going to have fun there tomorrow, too.
Oh, we're going to have a great time tomorrow. Do I need to buy liquor? Is that what we're doing?
Is that what we're doing? We got Juan the sponsor. He'll bring it through. But we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out
tomorrow.
All right.
Guys, If you guys liked having Larry on here today, make sure you give a thumbs up to the video. Click subscribe. We're going to put all his links down in the description. Make sure to go check out the Bullhooker podcast, bullhooker.com and all that stuff. But with that, guys, I will leave you with our motto here on the podcast, which is an act of rebellion is to question. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, guys, thank you.